After quite the exciting day at Denver Motorsports Park last weekend, this weekend we're off to California for something brand new. It is the Hanford Motor Speedway hosting the 1UP Superstar Series for the very first time for race number 10 of the 30-race season in 2024. This variable banking, triangular 1 1/3 mile, there's a lot to love about it. There's a lot to be curious about. Which lane will be superior, who will get runs, is it easy to pass here? All that will be answered and then some as we get underway for 54 laps here today. And alongside me to bring you all the action once again is James Ellison, back in the booth after a stint in the wheel at Denver. It's great to have you back with us. There's a lot to talk about this race, but the key factor to me is this new track. What is it going to be like for these superstar cars?
Well, personally, I feel like it's going to be one of those deals where, like any new track, you just got to take some time, get a feel for it. They got a feel for it with qualifying and practice sessions, and now it's time to find out how it is in an actual race, and that's going to be the exciting part, is watching these drivers learn how to do it, how to take the turns, how to handle the straightaways, and how to handle racing each other throughout the whole circuit.
And one notable factor about this track that is unique to it, the start-finish line here is very far down the straightaway towards the turn 1 end. So you're going to be braking for the turn as you cross the start-finish line here. So there's a lot can change. I wonder if they're going to go flat out into that corner coming to the checkered flag just to get that little bit of an advantage. As we can now bring you the starting lineup for today's 54-lap event. Nick Ortiz gets pole position. I believe that is his first of the season. Steven Gale gets a much-needed outside front row start with Zayden Davidson, Zachary Fitzwater, both seeking their first career wins in the Superstar Series, third and fourth. Emma Kruger rounds out the top 5 alongside last week's winner, Lane Sanders. But there's got to be some other drivers throughout the field to keep our eye on, because we see it's an unknown whether it'll be easy to pass here or not. So for those out front, it's got to be a good thing, but for those out back, it's a big question mark on if you can get to the front or not.
Oh, absolutely, and there's none more determined to find out how quickly they can get to the front than when you look back there with amongst on the back markers, including my own car. You see James Silverfox, J.D. Martin, Austin Runkle, Sam Donato. They're all going to be determined to find out what it's going to take and how long it's going to take to get up to the front and make up for a poor qualifying effort.
So with that being said, we have 42 cars ready to take the green flag here at Hanford Motor Speedway. We are ready to bring you that action now. This is the 1UP Superstar Series from Hanford, California, and the green flag is getting ready to drop on the field. Stay tuned, folks. You're not going to want to miss the first race at this new venue. Getting ready for something new here at Hanford, California. Ortiz and Gale lead us to the green flag, which is about to go in the air. It's out right now. We're underway at Hanford Motor Speedway. You can see it's a long blast to the start line here, and it doesn't take long for him to brake hard for this high bank turn 1. That's the highest bank corner on the racetrack. As the field already starts to fan out, you can see Lattimore and Caggiano towards the back go 3 wide already.
Talk about people going 3 wide. You see, of course, still 2 wide up here. But Fitzwater was trying to go, although Zayden Davidson giving a bit of a push up there to Steven Gale, who's trying to get to the lead that first lap ahead of the polesitter.
So coming off of turn 3, rather, to complete the opening lap, it will be Steven Gale who leads the first lap ahead of Nick Ortiz. Looks like the outside's a preferred line on the initial jump, as Gale takes off with the lead down the longer of the 2 back straightaways to enter halfway through the second lap.
And now he is officially clear, and I'm pretty sure that even if he doesn't get to keep that lead for long, he's going to be thanking Zayden Davidson for that bit of a push.
But the top 3 now are single file, make that 4 as Lane Sanders clears the side-by-side battle behind him, and Jeffrey Finguy's trying to do the same. So it's Gale out in front, Ortiz, then Davidson, Sanders in 4th. Jeffrey Finguy gets clear of Fitzwater to move up into the 5th position now. He goes side-by-side with Miles Mashburn, who's trying to get 6th away.
And it's very interesting, something I'm noticing here in the initial laps. The way they come up the turns, it's almost as if they're slowing down, like there's something wrong up ahead, like like you would normally see when there's trouble ahead from the cautions. But that's just the uniqueness of this track, and I'm here for it.
And the first side-by-side battles between Mashburn and Fitzwater, but behind them, Emma Kruger, Devin Fair, Echo Evans-Ross, and Patrick Smith, they all do battle for the final few spots in the top 10 at the moment. Kruger, Fair, and Evans-Ross have it. Patrick Smith wants it, but it's Steven Gale who's got the best view in the house right now. Clear track ahead, no one to try and pass. He's got the lead, and we're going to slow down hard for turn 3, leading onto the very long, slightly curved front straightaway.
Yeah, and many people will notice only 3 turns, and some of y'all probably think immediately Pocono. Well, there are similarities, but as was mentioned, this slightly curved front stretch really helps make this a unique circuit.
As well as that long blast from turn 3 down to the start-finish line. It's very unique here, to say the least, but that's what we love about this track. So far, it's provided pretty good racing. Although Steven Gale has led all 4 laps so far, Nick Ortiz has been keeping him honest throughout the entirety of this race so far, with Zayden Davidson and Lane Sanders not too far behind.
Speaking of Sanders, for a little bit there, he was really putting pressure on the back bumper of that 4 car, and well, he's not falling off too far, but I definitely have to say he's got that win from last week. He wants to get another one. Like I've talked about before, no matter how many wins you get, you're always ready for the next.
Looking a little further back now, you see Christian Vargas, a 13-time winner in the Superstar Series, trying to size up a move on Echo Evans-Ross and his teammate Devin Fair to try and get around for a spot in the top 10, but he goes wide in the corner. That's going to allow Patrick Smith to his inside now.
And there's Duke Anzac right there. He's looking for a good result as well. I mean, like so many here, no matter how many good results to get, they always want another one the next race they go to. And you see the time again, that don't always work, but right now, quite a few people are enjoying this run.
And keep in mind, we also have 2 pit stops in store for this race. The window here is 22 to 24 laps, so we would expect a pit stop around that lap and a pit stop in the final few laps of this race, unless these guys want to try and take a bit of a gamble and try and stretch their fuel to try and make it on 1 pit stop. Of course, the tire fall off here is also very severe, of about 3 seconds a lap at the far end of the run, but you never know. Someone might try it.
Yeah, there's going to be somebody here who's going to be daring to see if they can make it. And, you know, if it don't work out, that'll be something to chalk up for the next time we come to this track.
It looks like Ortiz trying to make a move on Steven Gale for the race lead. He has to back out a little bit going into turn 3. Looks as though the outside is the place to be in turns 1 and 3. The inside, meanwhile, is preferred in turn 2. That's going to be interesting to keep an eye on for the rest of this race, is the switchback between the lanes, which one prevails in what circumstances. But here, Steven Gale leads after 8 laps. He has led every lap so far, but Nick Ortiz and Zayden Davidson have kept him honest, and they're starting to pull away from 4th place a little bit.
And that's putting Lane right almost in the clutches of Fitzy there, and Mashburn, and a few others behind them. If he can stay right where he's at and have a good gap, and if Mashburn can fight with Fitzy long enough, he won't have to worry about losing that 4th place.
So far, it doesn't look like he is going to lose it, at least not now, because Mashburn is bringing the battle to Fitzwater for a spot in the top 5, but Fitzy gets clear off of 1. He drops down low to try and get a run on Lane Sanders into turn 2. This is going to be tight.
And if Mashburn and I think it's Finn Guy and Kruger get behind him, and then depending on which turn they get to, and it looks like it's not going to work this time, but if they can all get to the inside of Sanders at the right time, Lane can find himself losing a lot of spots really quick.
Absolutely, but it's still very early in this race. We've just crossed the 1/5 mark in this event, as right now it is the 52 is Steven Gale. He leads Ortiz and Davidson by a fairly close margin, but then this pack from 4th all the way back to about 12th are battling hard for every position in between. As you see Echo Evans Ross trying to battle with Vargas and Devin Fair, 2 of the Revolution Racing cars, to try and stay in the top 10. There's the other Revolution car of Davidson in 3rd, but it's Steven Gale who's led all 10 laps so far. He needs as many points as he can. He is mired deep in the hole as we enter the halfway mark. We hit the halfway mark in the regular season after this race.
And that's going to be something to really watch out for as we look toward the back of the pack. We see the one Rhodes Gray hanging out 42nd, but we see some of the ones that I mentioned starting back there with him, trying to find their way up front, but there's still quite a bit of work to do for them.
Not surprisingly, Steven Gale also holds the fastest lap of the race so far, and that's another point for him. So, as things run right now, he is on pace for a max points day if it stays the way it is for the rest of the race. Of course, that's no guarantee with the ins and outs of racing. As Davidson gets underneath Ortiz, this is a battle for the 2nd position.
And that's kind of what Steven Gale needs to see is Dayton trying to make some moves on Ortiz here and see what he can do, but obviously right now, nothing for it, but he's going to be making efforts, and Steven's going to be all for that because that means they'll be focusing on each other and not going after him.
Exactly. So, note it, and you can see how Steven Gale's lead is growing as the 91 and the 4 keep fighting each other. So, we're about halfway through a run here at Hanford, and it looks like we've actually had an incident in turns 1 and 2. It hasn't brought out a caution, but Bobo Jones and James Silverfox look to be the ones involved in this. And they are now mired in 41st and 42nd places after that little collision in turn 1. But we stay green. The tower did not deem that worthy to call a caution.
Yeah, they must have been able to sort it out real quick and not for race control to not worry about calling a caution for them blocking the course or anything. There are times like that we've seen in the past where they would not call a caution even for a slightly bigger incident than that, just because they cleared it up real quick, which, you know, you gotta give them credit for that, although I'm sure the people involved don't appreciate it.
Oh, I'm sure. I know they would have wanted a caution to get caught back up, but I'm sure Steven Gale, that's the last thing he wants, because he's checking out to about a half-second lead now over Nick Ortiz and Zayden Davidson. Lane Sanders, meanwhile, has fallen 2.5 seconds behind the leader, so for now, it's a 3-car breakaway at the front. A Chevrolet, a Honda, and a Toyota. We'll see which one prevails, or if any of them will, here at Hanford.
And talking about things going on, I noticed Echo Evans Ross has fallen out, and we have a new player in the top 10 for the moment in Patrick Smith. Although it looks like, well, as we move back here to see Fitzwater, he's lost a few spots again, but. You know, still hanging tough in there, which, you know, that's what he wants, especially even this early in the going.
Absolutely, and here you see Patrick Smith. He started this race down in the 14th position, and he has now climbed up into the top 10. He's working his way past Christian Vargas now to move up to 9th. So, good stuff early on from Patrick Smith. That makes it 2 Fingai Saitomi cars in the top 10.
And not only did he put Echo Evans Ross outside the top 10, he's essentially, I don't know if Devin Fair was ever credited as we go 3 wide here. If Fair was ever credited with being in the top 10 at the start-finish line, but if he wasn't there for long because he's sitting just outside yet again.
And that was a great move by Jeffrey Fingai. He put 2 cars on his outside, swept back by in turn 2, and now he's up to 4th. And let's see if he can start to chase down the top 3 at the front. Because now the deficit is 4 seconds between Jeffrey Fingai and leader Steven Gale.
And that's a lot to make up, even this early in the going. Because, see, we saw Zayden Davidson trying to make some moves on Nick Ortiz again, but I think that 91 has just gotten enough good Honda power under the hood to be able to keep that Toyota back there. Meanwhile, Steven Gale continuing to motor along.
although I think Jeffrey Finguy, once he got clear of Mashburn, Sanders, and Fitzwater, I think he's going to start to close in on these guys a little bit at a time. Yeah, he just gained about half a second on that last lap, so Finguy is on the way. We'll see how far up along he can go, but it looks like Lane's starting to fall back a little bit. Yeah, it looks like Lane's starting to fall back a bit, though. He's fallen to 8th. Patrick Smith has gotten by him. So he's in a little bit of trouble now. Lane Sanders, he started 6th today. He's now fallen back to 8th.
Yeah, what I was talking about earlier, it wasn't quite the freight train effect all in one or two turns, but he definitely did lose a few spots over the last couple of laps, and he could lose a few more if the 4 Toyotas behind him could ever sort things out among themselves.
Meanwhile, here comes Patrick Smith on Zachary Fitzwater. This is for the 6th position. That 22 has been climbing through the field at a steady rate, and he's now knocking on the door of 6th place, and he better make this move quick if he wants to go chase after Miles Mashburn in 5th. Meanwhile, Jeffrey Finguy's cut down the deficit to the leader by another half second. He's only 3.3 back now, as Davidson makes it past Ortiz for 2nd, and he's not done yet.
Yeah, I kind of wondered if he got by Ortiz, would he go after Gale? And we have the answer. It's just a matter of will he be able to clear him? Not quite yet.
No, but that's a strong move by Zayden Davidson this late in the run. Proves he's been saving his stuff quite a bit, as the lap times have fallen off almost 3 seconds since the start of this race. I would imagine these guys are got to be thinking about making a pit stop here, because you know there's going to be 2 in this race. As Jeffrey Finguy just closed the gap by a full second on that last lap, he is on the way.
Well, the fact that the top three have been started fighting amongst themselves a little bit kind of helps a little, but you know, they sorted out for the moment, but that does not mean that Finguy's progress will be slowed, because you know, he's still closing in.
And you can see him in the same shot now, Jeffrey Finguy. So this is a good run for him. He's been having some pretty good runs this season. He was really unhappy after Denver, the lap car causing an end to Dylan Young's competitive day, but I think having himself and Patrick Smith up in the top 7 now, that makes up for it a little bit, because this Finguy Saitomi team, they're always contenders, and I would not be surprised to see at least one of them racing for the win by the end of this race.
Oh, that would definitely not be surprising in the slightest, because they're fast forwards, and we've seen how fast they can be. Because, and of course, Finguy usually is the fastest, but we've seen, like last year, Dylan Young was really quick, and things aren't quite the same as how they started, how the first half of last year started, but they're still really fast, and of course, I mean, he's got a lot of fast competitors too.
Like these top 3 at the front, Gale, Ortiz, Davidson, they're still gapping the field pretty well, although Gale's starting to gap the 2 he's been racing for a while. Steven Gale starting lap 24 in the lead of this race, although the gap's gone down a little bit as Bobo Jones catches up to James Silverfox and attempts to make the move on him. That's for 41st. As it looks like the pit cycle has began.
Yeah, I was just going to say, as Silverfox goes real close to the barrels there.
Yep, Echo Evans-Ross was the highest placed of the drivers who pit on this lap, and I would expect the leaders to not be far behind. You cannot give up that much time on this cycle. Yep, here comes everybody else. Oh, Fitzwater's going to try and lead a lap here.
Fitzwater, Vargas, Sanders, Anzac. There's a few of them who are staying out.
Yeah, Caggiano stayed out. Dylan Young stayed out. Let's see if anybody.
I don't blame Young for staying out.
Yeah, looks like
he started pretty rough.
William Brock stayed out as well. Austin Runkle, but everybody else is coming to pit road right here.
Yep, I got to applaud everybody for trying different strategies, see what works. We're gonna have one more pit stop to see if how well it works. I would say definitely one more stop, because I don't think they're going to be able to stretch it very far.
Not on these tires, as it looks like Gale and Davidson go, but Ortiz is stuck in his pit. He's not moving. Something's amiss with the 91, and he's going to lose a ton of track position as a result of this.
Yeah, he's definitely looks like Like Emma, the 70 is stuck in pit road too. There's a few
Freeman's,
of them.
yeah, Mashburn, Devin Fair, they're all having some sort of issue in the pits. Either they're waiting to be released, Ortiz finally makes it out of his pits, but this is going to cost a lot of these guys a good amount of position. It might even cost them a lap.
And that's going to be a tough one to deal with because we saw right there a lot of the back markers, the one and a few others. It's things like this that you don't need, and, well, unfortunately, it has happened.
And we're coming to take the halfway lap next time by at lap 27. So there's not a lot of time for these guys to make things happen late in the race. As here comes Davidson. He's getting underneath Steven Gale for the race lead. This will be the lead once it cycles out.
And he got a little bit of a draft off of Sam Denoto there. We'll see if that can carry through, and he'll at least be credited with leading a lap, that's for sure.
That is, I believe, the first lap Zayden Davidson has led this season. Good stuff from him. But Emma Kruger, man, has lost a lap already and is now in danger of going 2 laps down.
Yeah, that's, I wonder what happened there, because we saw it, she wasn't the only one. That's,
it was Ortiz, Mashburn, Devin Fair was held up.
Yeah, gonna have some people wanting to know what's happening here, and I don't think we're gonna have much of an answer to that right away.
But now it's Jeffrey Finguy that's taken over the third man role from Nick Ortiz. We're looking to try and find where he is. He's fallen quite a ways behind. Zachary Fitzwater now a lap down as well. That's a shame for him. He started this race so well, but he is now off the lead lap. Echo Evans-Ross cycles up to 4th on account of pitting early. Jeff Bolton is up to 5th. That's a great run for the 38 team.
And getting a quick look there at 11th or 20th, you saw Cale Tescar Jr. up there. Rhodes Gregg. A lot of people's misfortune is really making things better for some of them who either weren't having a very good run to start the race, or were sitting somewhere in the middle of the pack during the first run.
It'll no longer be a max points day for Steven Gale, though, because Mark Davey, in 10th position, has taken the fastest lap point away from the 52. So, we've got less than half of this race left, and we still have one more pit stop to make. But for now, it's Steven Gale leading Zayden Davidson and Jeffrey Finguy. They're 2.5 seconds clear of Echo Evans-Ross in 4th.
Yeah, that's this is really shoving things up, because you see Joshua Michaels up here. He started in the 16th spot. He's been having a good season. See Jake McMillan up in there.
And McMillan started 24th today.
And JD Martin, he started deep in the soups. He started way back behind a lot of back markers in 39th.
Just goes to show you the benefits of pitting early here at Hanford. And right now, but the battle for the lead is heating up because Zayden Davidson is all over the back bumper of Steven Gale. He's trying to find an opportunity, but the only way you can go is by making a lunge down in the turn 1 on the bottom. That's not where he wants to be, but it might be his only choice.
Yeah, and that's gonna be tough. And this is definitely not where I was expecting Lane to be after the pit stops.
No, but he must have been another one that was held up by the pit stops. He's now racing Zachary DeLello to be one of the final cars on the lead lap at this point. They are currently 28th and 29th on the racetrack, but Rasha Mahendra is currently the last car on the lead lap, and Denoto as well. They're racing for it. I believe they're racing for 31st and 32nd on the racetrack, or is it 30th and 31st? Either way, the 3 leaders are hot on their heels, so they can't afford any mistakes now.
Yeah, they make a mistake, and it could not only cost them, but it could also cost the leaders. And we've seen what happens when cars mess with the day of somebody who's having a good run up front.
Absolutely. As Finguy runs a little wide through the final corner, we'll see if that gives him a little bit of momentum down the long front straightaway here. Davidson once again sizing up Steven Gale. He's going to peek out, try and make a move into turn 1, but he lets off a little earlier, trying to get a little launch off the corner. Gale gets it better though.
Yeah, he got it a whole lot better. Plus he had I'm not sure which car he had the best draft off of Mahindra or Denoda. But he's able to hang on there, and now Finn guy going after Davis.
Yeah, and also we got to keep in mind these tires, they will fall off significantly, but these lap cars have a lot to lose by letting the leader go. So Steven Gale needs to make these passes swiftly and effectively to try and give himself a buffer between himself and the two cars that are chasing him.
Yeah, that's a tough ask, because at least two of those are normally known to be real good cars and have been victory lane in recent years. So, and have been doing really good this year too. So that's going to be a lot for him to have to deal with.
And also of note, William Brock has taken the fastest lap of the race off of Mark Davey. So give William Brock the point for the fastest lap currently. We'll see if he can hold it for the rest of the race. Meanwhile, up at the front, Steven Gale trying to hang on with 20 laps to go, with Zayden Davidson chasing him and Jeffrey Finguy chasing them both. Gale looking for his first win since 2020, while Zayden Davidson looking for his first in general. He has not won in the 1UP Superstar Series before. Jeffrey Finguy, though, looking for number 13 to tie him back up with Christian Vargas.
And that is definitely something he wants. And Zayden trying something new, although I'm not sure it's going to work. Nope, not going to work.
But kudos for trying. That's something he's got to be experimenting with different things to try and get up to past the 52. He's done it once already. He got credit with leading a lap, but he wants to lead the last one. And if he's going to do that, he's got to find a way around this 52, who has dominated so far.
Yeah, and that's a big deal for Steven Gale to dominate so like he has to this point. He's got to be able to close it, and in order to do that, at 4 and 92, and perhaps even the 59, which is closing in on this battle, could very well be the fight he's dealing with to finally get that win.
Of course, Steven Gale has won a race since his last points victory in 2020, but that was in the shootout, a non-points event, so he would have loved nothing more than to get back to victory lane in a proper points race, to say that he now has 3 career wins instead of the 2 he has had since 2020. But he's starting to stretch his lead out again, because Davidson and Finguy have gotten to fighting each other. That's allowing Gale to get a bigger lead. We'll see what it is at the stripe here. Yeah, about 0.6 of a second.
And those two fighting for second is allowing fourth place Zachary Fitzwater to close in. And
well, keep in mind, Fitzwater is a lap down. So the real fourth place car is Echo Evans Ross, about 2.5 seconds off.
Even so, I'm sure Fitzy's just sitting there wishing that he was on the lead lap, because that would present a perfect opportunity for him. But if these 3 get to fighting, it could still present an opportunity for him to get back on the lead lap. Yeah,
you can keep in mind, if a caution comes out, he would be the free pass recipient. So he's got to hang in there and hope that Steven Gale does not pass Rasha Mahindra to put him a lap down, or else that would give the 42 the free pass prerogative over Zachary Fitzwater in the 59. But we are coming up on 15 laps to go, and so far it's been the Steven Gale show, but Zayden Davidson is closing the gap once again.
Yeah, but we've seen this story many times. It's just a matter of will it be like the broke record, be the same thing, or will it finally be something new? Here he goes again.
Nothing doing on that occasion. Same story, different chapter for Zayden Davidson. But kudos to him for closing that gap as big as it was, to cut that gap basically to nothing on Steven Gale. Davidson's got to hope that Mahindra holds up the 52 in a way that doesn't impact him, so he can try and swoop around and get the lead. But if these two get to fighting each other, don't forget that 92 back there either.
Yeah, I think Mahindra's kind of hoping he's not the reason something goes wrong for one or both of these guys, because Gale is all over him. right now. That's got to make the 42 driver a little nervous.
And it's got to make the 52 driver very frustrated behind the wheel of that car, as Davidson takes a peek in turn 2, but he does not have the momentum to make it stick. But we'll see if he makes a run at it into turn 3. A deep dive up the inside could do it here, as Gale runs wide. That could be the mistake Davidson needed.
And he is clear. That is definitely not what Steven Gale needed. Now he's got to worry about Jeffrey Fingine while Davidson runs off and tries to go put Rush Mahendra a lap down.
So give Zayden Davidson the point after Steven Gale dominated up to that point. We'll see if Gale can get it back, though. I would not be surprised if he is able to. But now, the top 3 in this race separated by half a second, as Davidson does make a move on Rasha Mahendra to try and put him back a lap down. We'll see if Steven Gale takes advantage of this, tries to get around the 4 in some way here. But it looks like Mahendra's going to try and put up a fight here. He wants to stay on this lead lap. And I think Steven Gale might be trying to follow the 42 past.
Trying, but I think the 52 is a little faster than the 42. So, and now Steven Gale's got himself a real problem. His fin guy's back. Although, okay, so it's working.
It's working for now, but Davidson makes a deep dive up the inside into turn 2. Not enough momentum. Move Steven Gale back to the lead as we close in on 10 laps to go.
I feel like Rasha Mahendra just redeemed himself in the eyes of Steven Gale by that draft, even though I don't think Mahendra was wanting the 52 to draft off. But, you know, it might make up a little bit for the frustrations that I feel like is probably what caused Gale to go wide a few laps ago.
But here comes Davidson back again on the inside. This has been a great race for the lead between these 3. Coming to 10 laps to go this time. Will Zayden Davidson be able to get past the 52, get that first career win, or will Steven Gale hang on to become a winner for the first time in 5 years?
Well, these are some real fast cars, and Gale almost made contact with the 4 there. And while this has been going on, I noticed a couple more with rough qualifying efforts are now in the top 10. Aaron Hall, Dylan Young, they both started pretty far back, and they're now up there as Davidson goes back to the lead once again.
10 laps to go from Hanford. Zayden Davidson on point in the 4, looking for that first career win. And it looks like he only has Gale and Fingine to deal with to try and get that win. But of course, those are very tough challengers. Steven Gale, of course, dominated this race. Jeffrey Fingine, of course, has 12 wins in the Superstar Series. These are probably the last 2 guys that Zayden Davidson was hoping he'd have to fight today.
Yeah, but of course, we also have to remember, unless they really dare to stretch it in the late going, I believe there is supposed to be at least one more pit stop coming up.
And boy, if someone does try and stretch this, and these 3 all have to pit, that would be a proper heartbreak for all 3, because any one of these 3 could have won this race and probably would deserve it. But if someone back there, say a Joshua Michaels or a Dylan Young, tries to stretch it out, they might be the one in the catbird seat. Who knows?
Yeah, that's the thing we gotta wait and see here. We gotta see who will make the dive to pit road first. And I would not be surprised if it's some of the ones further back like it was the first time.
If it's Echo Evans Ross or Patrick Smith that makes that move first, they could be in contention for the win if that's the case. But now Jeffrey Fingine is taking over the second spot from Steven Gale. He's the one chasing after Davidson now. Steven Gale starting to fall back a little bit. Could he have used up all his stuff earlier on in this run?
Well, he probably did, because he had to play defense and he was also trying to get by the 42. And Davidson's still having trouble getting by, because you said it, he is fighting for all he's worth. He don't care that he's at the back of the field right now. He wants that beyond credited for being on the lead lap at the checkered flag.
But him doing so is letting Jeffrey Fingine to the inside of Davidson.
Oh.
We saw what happened last time Jeffrey Fingine made a free wide move down in the turn 2. It worked out for him there. It's not going to work out for him now because he just lost a ton of momentum to Zayden Davidson as we're closing in on the very end of this race. And we still have another pit stop to make.
Yeah, I mean, Zachary Fitzwater what could have been for him.
That is a very fast car.
Fast car, and if that were for the lead, as we see pit cycles going, test car, McMillan.
Looks like they're the only ones on that lap.
And this battle is still going on, and you know, again, if only Fitzwater were on the lead lap, I think this would be a real exciting battle. But it's still pretty exciting as is.
And I would expect the 3 leaders to be coming in this lap. They do not want to give up any time to McMillan or Teskar, who pitted the lap before. Looks like they're all going to make their way to the bottom of the racetrack. And yes, the leaders are coming. Coming to 5 laps to go, the leaders pit.
5 to go, they're pitting. Here comes a few others. Let's see. What do we got here? Oh yeah, we got others that have already been pitting. So,
but Dylan Young is the one who stays on the racetrack. He might try and stretch it, as is Michaels, as is Caggiano.
This is going to be interesting to watch these 3 if they do try to stretch it out.
Christian Vargas also going to go for it here, maybe.
Yeah, Dylan Young, he would love to be able to go to victory lane for this, but if he has to pit, he has to pit, and it looks like
yes he is
coming in.
I would expect Michaels and Caggiano to follow suit. They will. Christian Vargas probably going to come in as well, and I would expect Lane Sanders, who also stayed out with Fitzwater, to pit the next time by as well. But looking back at the battle, this could still be Zayden Davidson's day. He's got a big lead over Jeffrey Finguy, and Steven Gale is nowhere to be seen.
Well, that is heartbreak for him, because he dominated, got past, and was still in the hunt, and pit cycle's happening now. Now it's all going to be for nothing for him, it looks like.
Yeah, he's going to be quite a ways back, as we now have 4 laps to go. Zayden Davidson trying to hang on for just 4 more laps to get that first career win.
Yeah, as we watch the top 10 do the shuffle here.
There's Steven Gale. He's back in about 8th place.
See where he is.
Tough break. That's a heartbreak for Steven Gale. It really is. He had such a good car today, but he's not going to win this race. It's going to come down to between Zayden Davidson looking for career win number 1 and Jeffrey Finguy looking for his 13th to tie him for the most all time. 3 laps to go.
Yeah, and talk about tying for most all time. That is an ongoing battle in and of itself. This is Fitzwater coming back on the track in front of this battle.
It's going to come down to these 2. I don't think 3rd place is close enough to make a run at it. Yeah, Echo Evans-Ross is a few seconds behind. So it's going to come down to Davidson and Finguy for this win as we close in on 2 laps to go. Here comes Finguy to the inside.
Yeah, Finguy's making a move. Could this be heartbreak for Davidson as well as Gale as they're coming down to 2 to go?
These are got to be the hardest 2 laps of Zayden Davidson's life right here. He's got to hang on for just 2 trips around Hanford just to hang on to this win, because Jeffrey Finguy is closing in at an incredible rate of speed. Now he's got to try and get a run on Zachary Fitzwater to try and pass. He's going to the inside, but so is Finguy coming to the white flag this time.
Finguy wasn't able to keep up there, but I don't expect him to just take this line and just lie down, because he's got to be mad that Fitzy's in the way right now. That has to anger him, because he don't care about Zayden wanting this first career win. He wants that next one.
White flag in the air, 1 more lap from Hanford, California. Can Zayden Davidson hang on? Going into turn 2 for the final time. This could be the moment of truth right here. We know this is Finguy's best corner.
And it's not going to be enough. Davidson has the power, and he is on his way.
So, entering turn 3 for the final time, Zayden Davidson may be considered the 3rd driver at Revolution Racing compared to 2 championship-winning teammates. But today, in the sunlight of California, he's got the spotlight all to himself, as for the first time in his one-up career, Zayden Davidson going the victory lane at Hanford, California. How about that? First career win for the 4 driver, and boy did he earn it battling Jeffrey Finguy that hard for that long. he fully deserves his maiden win today. Congratulations to him. And Jeffrey Finguy comes up one spot short, half a second back. He sure gave it his best shot, though, and he'll be ready to go again in Kentucky. Echo Evans-Ross brings it home in third, ties our best result of the season. Patrick Smith, fourth. I believe that's his best result of the year. And Jeff Bolton, we barely talked about him all day, but he brings it home in the top 5. That's going to be fantastic for his efforts to make the playoffs this season. Excellent stuff.
Top 5.
Excellent stuff from the 38. Aaron Hall brings it home 6th. Jake McMillan 7th. Steven Gale, what could have been for him, in 8th. Ahead of J.D. Martin, biggest mover today, gained 30 spots up to 9th. And A.J. Jones gets his first top 10 since winning the Daytona 500 back in March. But that was an incredible race for a brand new racetrack, and this has done a lot to guarantee Hanford's spot on the schedule next year, because what a race that was.
Oh, absolutely. I enjoyed this from lap 1, and we had an amazing fight for the lead the majority of the way through. And, looking at the results, I gotta say, all the craziness that happened on pit road, plus the pit strategies, I gotta say, props to my team over there, Crossroads Racing, getting Rhodes Gray a top 15.
But that is going to do it for us from Hanford, California. From James Ellison and from myself as well, we say goodbye from Hanford, California. We'll see you again next time for One-Up's longest night at Kentucky Speedway for our marathon event down there. We're going to look forward to that one as much as you guys are, I'm sure. But for now, so long from Hanford, and congratulations to Zayden Davidson, steps out of the shadow of his championship-winning teammates, and for the first time in his One-Up Superstar Series career, he is now a race winner, and no one can take that away from him now.